Hey, welcome. I'm HauberkV, and this is Left Shift, a show about gaming news and whatever else I want to talk about from a leftist perspective. Today I'm talking about the sort of a follow-up to the video I made on my other channel, the HauberkV channel. It's where I normally post my stream videos when I do stream. Sometimes I'll have rants that get cut up on there while I'm streaming. We'll edit them down and put them on there. So this is sort of a follow-up to that. You do not need to watch that first, however. But if you'd like to check out that channel, definitely every view helps on both channels. So I appreciate you watching this one, and if you check out the other one, that's cool too. So we're talking about Microsoft today acquired Activision Blizzard for $95 per share in a quote all-cash transaction valued at $68.7 billion. So I am not gonna go into details as to what a momentous sort of purchase this was. I know a lot of outlets have already reported on it's probably the biggest deal of the year so far, right at the beginning of the year. Who knows what we'll see? I'm not here for any of that. What I'm here to talk about is I've seen a lot of people, a lot of articles, a lot of people commenting on articles about why this is good, why this is bad, and I agree that this is not a good thing. This is the same sort of consolidation that we're continuing to see in all aspects of U.S. Like businesses that just hurt the consumer in general. I've been having a lot of issues with what people are saying are the prescriptions and why this is bad. I've seen a lot of people advocating for, maybe there should be more mergers for other companies to compete. Games never coming here or there. And I'm going to try and address a lot of that and hopefully maybe not console your concerns, but come up with some more realistic concerns on why this is a problem. So first off, right off the bat, jumping off of my Bobby Kotick video, Bobby Kotick is the CEO of Activision Blizzard. Basically the head of numerous scandals within Activision Blizzard, up to and including stealing women's breast milk from the break room. We now see with this merger why he wouldn't step down and why the board of directors wouldn't step down, because they were doing talks with Microsoft, who says he is going to stay on the team until the takeover finalizes, in which case everything's going to be put under Phil Spencer. Okay, cool. Bobby Kotick's out, right? Well, no, for multiple reasons. Yes, he's out. Is it good? Not particularly. What this just shows is that not only does Activision Blizzard not give a shit about their employees because they will not have their CEO step down with all the harassment, it's Microsoft doesn't give a shit either. They're not removing him because of these allegations. This is just the regular practice for Microsoft when they acquire a company. So we're basically telling the employees, hey, fuck you. We're not addressing any of these concerns. This guy's leaving, and I guarantee you, wait and see, Bobby Kotick's going to get a big old payday out of this. He's going to get what's called the golden parachute, which is when they let a CEO go, they give him a huge compensations and bonuses and everything out the door. He's going to be set for the rest of his life. This guy who just doesn't give a shit about his workplace harassment, doesn't give a shit about stealing women's breast milk from the break room, runs that sort of environment within his company. He's going to get to retire fully loaded for the rest of his life. So don't worry about Bobby Kotick here, I guess. So he's gonna be loaded and set. This is the message that acquisition sends, is that we still don't, hey, employees, we still don't care about you. Don't get us wrong. But Bobby Kotick is going to be out coincidentally on the side. So that was just one aspect of this that sort of, speaks horribly already out the gate. But that is a small thing in comparison to the conciliation that's taking place within all gaming sectors, really. We don't know how far it's going to go yet, how many more companies may be acquired now that I would say with Bethesda, really the die has been cast between maybe Nintendo, but definitely Sony and Microsoft competing. So why is the consolidation bad, and why shouldn't we fight it with even more. I've seen people recommend fighting it with even more consolidation. Like, oh, Nintendo needs to acquire Square Enix. That will help. Sony needs to acquire Ubisoft. That'll help. No, should not listen to anyone advocating for even further consolidation. The first, and like I'm gonna start with like the most minor, going to the most severe sort of consequences of this like huge consolidation. And it's the same sort of pattern that we see already today in like the movie industry. So a lot of these things here are just, these have already happened in other industries. This is just like continuing the pattern in the gaming industry, which hasn't been hit as drastically as other industries have by consolidation. So we have, Microsoft already has a history of buying up studios, and I actually have a little list here of studios they've purchased and just kind of thrown aside. Maybe they had to make a game. Maybe they had to make no games. Maybe some of them they still just have and sit on. That's the first problem. So you have games that are just not going to be made anymore. Games that, they just don't have the interest or manpower for the company to make. We have here at Fossa Studios. Fossa Studios made the Shadowrun games, like the turn-based ones. They acquired that studio in 1999. And then it died in 2007. They all left, lost their jobs, went to go make other like studios. Digital Anvil made Wing Commander. This one's important to me because it's directly sort of responsible for Star Citizen, which I hate. So if Microsoft had actually done something with Digital Anvil and tried to make it work with Wing Commander titles, given some freedom to the creator, wouldn't have Star Citizen, the proto NFT Starship game, as far as I'm concerned. Basically the Scam Citizen, as it's lovingly known by the gaming community at this point, in its 10-year development cycle that has almost nothing to show for it. Digital Anvil was bought in 2000 and it closed in 2006. Ensemble, bought by Microsoft 2001, closed 2008. What games did they make? Oh, they made Halo Wars, which was actually a lot of people's favorite RTSs, and one of the few RTSs that was very compatible with a console. So cool, dead. So also, I want to throw Rare on the pile there. Rare still exists, but they don't. The last time you saw Rare make like one of their Banjo-Kazooie or Conker's Bad Fur Day, like this, Rare might as well be dead. But yeah, Rare is another example of some good games that are just not being developed anymore because Microsoft bought it and then they forgot about it. Games not being made isn't going to be the end of the world. It's not saying that there aren't going to be games made ever again. And maybe they don't. Maybe they stop development on Overwatch 2. Maybe they do something with WoW to make like a WoW 2 and shut down the old servers. I don't know. I'm not saying any of that's going to happen, and I'm not trying to fearmonger that is the case. These are just like a game you may really niche game you may really like, just may stop showing up now. Not fine for the people who make the games per se. I really, really hate seeing the studios thrown out. The games I can do without. That's fine. The studios, on the other hand, the workers, the people who make the games being thrown out on their asses, that fucking sucks, and that hurts to see. That hurts to see your developer like being thrown out and just moving to another studio, and you never hear about them again because they're just like, they're not heading any projects, or they're back just doing like regular development work, or they don't have the creative control. Maybe they go work for like EA or something, and their creative control is gone. So it's cool when they start indie studios, but those are the ones you hear about, not the ones you don't hear about. That is really the big consequence of throwing out developers like that and throwing out games and teams like that. Here's where we get into the bigger issues with the consolidation, though. Exclusivity is a big one that a lot of people are upset about. Exclusivity, that maybe Overwatch 2 is just for Xbox. Maybe Call of Duty is only an Xbox exclusive. This could happen. It would hurt Sony pretty bad, but I feel like it would also hurt Microsoft at the same time. Remember, these gaming companies, in the immortal words of Stephanie Sterling, it's not enough to make money. These game companies need all of the money. and I don't think Microsoft is an exception. We will most likely see more timed exclusives. Timed exclusive seems like they do a really big favor to the publishers because you essentially get a double release. You get the initial release where it comes onto the platform that your people have, like Xbox, PC in this case for Microsoft. And then you get to do a second release when it comes out on PC. You can even do a big update with it. Or sorry, PC. When it comes out on like PlayStation 5. You can do a second release and get even your sales spike again. So I think we'll see more timed exclusives. Unless Microsoft really wants to hammer into Sony, which is possible, I don't see them doing too many. Like, I don't see them like taking Call of Duty and making it Xbox exclusive only. It is possible though. It just depends on really their marketing strategy. But in most cases, company strategy is to make as much money as possible, which sort of leads into the next few points here. This is where it starts to get a little worse. With these consolidations and acquisitions, you start to move. Gaming is media, so I tend to look toward like movies and music in the way that consolidation is going to affect it. In this case, with enough consolidation, which we're already sort of getting there, there's only like 5 companies that control everything gaming related. You can have things like if you're an indie developer, maybe you can't get onto the PlayStation platform anymore. Maybe you have to pay money to get on PlayStation. Maybe you have to pay money to get on the Microsoft Store. Right now, or at least prior, I say maybe publishers would actually try and get like indie developers onto their platform as sort of like a competition between each other, which it was never. I'm not gonna rose-colored glasses here. They still milk the hell out of indie devs then, but it can get so much worse. Imagine you're an indie developer, and if Microsoft, Sony, or whatever are making 60% of the games, what's going to be easier for them to do to you? Is it going to be that they can charge you money to get on the platform, which things like that Sony already does. They did it with Fortnite. Granted, Epic is not really considered an indie dev, but Epic had to pay money in order just to get Fortnite linked up to online for PlayStation. They charged them extra money, so they can do that to smaller devs. Sony already does this to smaller devs for advertising. If you want your game to show up on like the PlayStation Store front page, so according to thegamer.com, they talked to some devs via Twitter. And Sony will charge you a minimum of $25,000 as an indie developer to be featured like on the PlayStation page, and that can actually go as high as $200,000. That's just for advertising. If they make most of the games and say like 20% of games are made by indie developers, you either need to make a knock out of the park game of the year game, like something like Disco Elysium. Like, how many Disco Elysiums get released a year though? That you could charge them to be on your platform. A lot of cases, a lot of platforms already take a cut of game sales, but they could go even further than that. Especially when that dynamic flips and it's no longer them wanting the game on their platform to get the game to gamers. It's more of like, oh, we have all the games here. Like, you want to be here, you need to pay us to be here with us. It's just a dynamic shift, and it just comes from the consolidate. That again just comes from consolidation. Oh, also in terms of like, let's say you are an indie dev and you make a really good game series. Let's say you make Disco Elysium. What's gonna be easier for Microsoft in this case to compete with like an indie dev at this level when they own everything? If they own the release platform, they own basically all the publishing rights, they make most of the games. It's really easy just to lock you out from being on their platforms. And at that point, if you're not making money, you can easily be acquired. And that just comes with power and money. Just like the more money they have, the more they can do this. And this is essentially the way this is the way it works through the whole system, how capitalism completely squashes innovation. You can buy up the product, the people that don't have as much money as you. You can block them out of the market, buy them up, and then delete them. And by delete them, I mean like buy up their studio and just fire all of them. You could buy up their studio and just keep them on payroll, sitting to do nothing, because that's probably cheaper than competing with them. So that's just like a few examples going forward. I mean, look at it this way: when you go to the movies, indie movies still exist. People still make them, but you don't see them at the movie theater, like the regular movie theater. There are theaters that show them, but you don't see that at like the regular movie theater. You have to go to a special theater to see them, because you have to work with one of the big studios in order to get into the movie theater. This is how I see gaming in the future, unfortunately, if things keep consolidating like they do, because they will, because that's how our system works. It's an endless just consolidation until there's only one big fish left, ideally, or in our case, as many big fishes as the government will let through. So like 5, 2, 3, who knows? With the way things are being run now, we don't know when that stops, or like at 1. I mean, it stops at 1. Obviously, at the very end of it, but we don't know where our government would let that stop. But I can assure you, it's probably less than 5. If you looking at other industries, so being locked out, and I know this affects everyone too, because this can also be done with Steam as well, Steam and Epic. Granted, I mean, Microsoft has more than enough money to just flat out buy Steam if they wanted to. I know right now Gabe Newell says he's not going to sell. But Gabe Newell's not going to be CEO forever. The same thing with Epic. They're going to change. When that change happens, there's always a chance that company just gets eaten. And what happens? Let's say they just take all your Steam games, now you're on Xbox. Oh, okay. Well, that's my whole Steam library on Xbox. Oh, what? Now there's a subscription fee to access my Steam library? That's weird. Easy. Like, that's an easy thing for a huge company to do. And that's why, like, wealth consolidation can be really dangerous, because it just gives way too much power for them to manipulate basically the market and products. Look at most AAA titles that come out nowadays. If you are actively playing games, like you're a big gamer, you know that anytime you buy a AAA game is a roll of the dice at this point. There are certain studios I trust and certain studios I do not trust at all. And it's usually the bigger ones are the ones I don't trust, like Ubisoft. Hell, even I guess CD Projekt comes out with Cyberpunk. The most recent Battlefield game, flop. How many Call of Duties have just been garbage when they come out? World of Warcraft expansions being terrible upon release. And this is just the nature of AAA games. So you're gonna have, if most of your games are being made by AAA studios, they're all gonna be subject to being bad. And why bad though? Like, why are they? And by bad, I mean like buggy, unplayable, poorly written, things like that. Games are art, so they're definitely subjective. I can't sit here and tell you, or I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, like, Death Stranding is bad or something like that. A lot of people may not like it. A lot of people don't like it. It's art. So if a lot of people will like it, so when I say bad, I mean actually like technically, like has technical issues. Parts of the game are missing or sold back to you as like DLC, very like important parts and things like that. So that's what I mean when I say bad. And the reason AAA games are bad is because they have terrible working conditions. They crunch their employees. They work on short deadlines. This is the same for any AAA studio at this point in time. So you're going to be subjecting, as this consolidation furthers, you're going to be subjecting 50, 60, 70, 80% of games that are made to these type of conditions. I'm not going to say all of them are going to be bad, but, it's not going to get any better. You're going to have way more buggy games. You're going to have more Battlefield 2042s down the pipeline. Now it kind of boils down to, like, these are the consequences of further consolidation. If you see anyone saying like, oh, Nintendo needs to consolidate further, you're basically taking a rocket ship and pointing it at the sun right now, and having like Nintendo buy Square Enix or Sony buy, Ubisoft, you're turning on the thrusters to the rocket going into the sun. The worst part about it is just the wealth and power consolidation that allows them to massively manipulate anyone underneath their company, any company smaller than them. And again, the companies exist to make all of the money, not a lot of money, not some money, all of the money. And they're going to get all of the money the more they consolidate. And when that happens, your games, your art is going to get worse because it's no longer art. It's an ad you pay for. when your art is being strictly made for profit. On top of just worse working conditions for the people who actually make your games, who you should care about more than the games, in my opinion. They're the people who make them. Like, I don't know how you can sit there and watch someone suffer who's making a thing you love. But it's not all doom and gloom. How can we fix it? How can we stop it? Well, with the Microsoft Blizzard merger acquisition, you can't at this point. Nothing short of an act of God is going to actually stop it dead in its tracks. You can definitely decry it. I encourage you to. I don't think it will change anything. Boycotting, again, the gaming movement, gamers, I don't know how you say that, but they have been trying boycotting for a long time in the gaming space, with microtransactions, with games with loot boxes. Not a single time has boycotting ever stopped like a AAA game from making its sales margins solely based off boycotting because of loot boxes or microtransactions or DLC. Ever. It will not work. The reason it will not work is because people who say to boycott are people like me. And people like me can only reach a minimum number of people. I'm sure if you're watching this, considering the date that it's posted, 1/19/2022, I will probably reach 5 or 10 people if I'm lucky, because I'm a new content creator. That's okay with me, but advertising budgets are massive, and the advertising is going to reach way more people in a way shorter amount of time than me or anyone like me will ever reach, probably in their entire lives. And this will happen once a month for these companies, once every other month. We just like boycotting just does not have the reach. It definitely has the power, but without the reach, it's nothing. What you need to do to fix this is this stems from an inherent structure within our economy. It's the nature of capitalism. It's for one company to eat another company until it's the biggest company, and then you start fucking with all the companies' bullets. What Amazon does, what Disney does, what Netflix does. That's how it works. I inherently think that's a bad thing all the way around. But just even talking with just people who play games, if you only care about games, I understand and I can sympathize. Games are art, so they're only going to be made worse by this sort of consolidation, as I've laid out previously. So you have to change the system in which this is occurring under. So that's organizing, mutual aid funds, DSA. They may not be gaming organizations or gaming related, but they will help. If developers are able to communally own a company, if they are going to be in charge of their time, their hours, their schedules, what games they make, this will curb not only like the competition factor of them acquiring and consolidating. That's easy, because when the workers control things, the developers control things, they can hire who they need, who they want for what games they want to make. They don't need to make hardcore business decisions to squeeze out the maximum profit when their purpose is to create art. And that is inherently what I think games should be geared toward, is focus not on being a product, but on being art first. And group ownership of companies and corporations seems like the best way to do that. So joining a local socialist organization to help make that a reality, or supporting local unions, supporting gaming unions also can help. I've said before, and you can watch other videos on my HauberkV channel on unionization versus group ownership of a company and how they differ, but it's going to be better than nothing. Union may not slow down consolidation, for example, but at the very least, if you just care about games, increasing the quality of life for the developers is going to go a long way, increasing the quality of your games themselves. So I hope this gets to people. I hope this maybe changes someone's mind. If you disagree with what I say, or if you think it's dumb or anything, you can reach out to me at HauberkV on Twitter. My DMs are open. You can email me at leftshiftpod@gmail.com if you feel so inclined. Or you can comment on the video down below, and make sure, even if you hate it, make sure you like it. You have to do that. If you comment and you don't like it, you have to like the video, though. That's the only thing, and I'll know if you don't. I'll be able to track it, probably. But I'll know, and I will email your parents and tell them no more internet for today. So thanks. Hey, I'm HauberkV, and if you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button at the bottom. It's appreciated, and feel free to join the Discord. The link is at the bottom. Thank you.